This is Chapter 1, Lesson 7, percent of a number. Okay, so in order to find the percent of a number, you can use blank and blank to find the percent of a number. So you can use fractions and decimals to find the percent of a number. To find the percent of a number, I write the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100, then multiply the fraction by a number. Okay, so let's look at example number 1. So example number 1 says, refer to the circle graph. Suppose there are 300 students at York Middle School. Find the number of students that have cheese as a snack. So here's cheese. It's 15%. Here's my cheese wheel. Okay. So method 1 is writing the percent as a fraction. Again, you can do either of these methods. So 15% I'm going to write as a fraction. So 15% becomes 15 over 100, which I can simplify to 3/20ths. And then 3/20ths, because there were 300 middle schoolers, of 300 equals 3 over 20 times 300, which equals 45. Method number 2 is I can write the percent as a decimal. 15% equals 0.15. 0.15 of 300 equals 0.15 times 300. Remember, of means multiply. 0.15 times 300 is 45. So 45 students have cheese as a snack. Both of these methods give you the exact same answer. So it's completely up to you which method you would like to use. All right, there are 2 try it problems, so go ahead and pause the video, try them on your own. You will need the chart to help you. All right, now that you've tried the try it problems on your own, let's look at them together. The first one says, A, find the number of students at York Middle School that have chips as a snack. So I'm gonna look at my wheel. Chips is right here, it's 18%. I'm going to just use it as a decimal. So 18% becomes 0.18. Still 300 students. So I'm going to take 0.18 times 300. And that gives me 54. So there are 54 students that like chips as a snack. Letter B. Letter B says, find the number of students at York Middle School that have fruit as a snack. So I go back to my chart. I look for fruit. Fruit's up here. It's at 23%. 23% changed to a decimal, 0.23. So I do 0.23 of 300, which gives me 69. So there are 69 students that had fruit as a snack. Okay. Looking at page 39, the second half of our lesson, percent of a number. So in this first box it says percents greater than 100% and less than 1%. You may choose whether to write a blank as a blank or as a decimal based on the problem. So you can choose to write a percent as a fraction or a decimal, fraction, or as a decimal based on the problem. So you may choose whether to write a percent as a fraction or a decimal based on the problem. So let's look at some examples. Example number 2 says find 145% of 320. So 145% is 145 over 100, or I can simplify it to 29 over 20. 145% of, remember of means multiply, so I'm multiplying 29/20ths times 3/20ths. 29/20ths times 3/20ths. I can cross simplify, so I get 20 becomes 1, 320 becomes 16. Then I multiply 29 times 16, which gives me 464. 1 times 1 is 1, so it's just 464. All right, let's look at number 3. Number 3 says find 220% of 65. 220% equals 220 over 100. I can simplify that to 11/5. I take 220% of 65, so 11/5 times 65. I can cross simplify. 5 becomes a 1. 65 becomes 13. So I get 11 times 13, which is 143. So 220% of 65 is 143. All right. Number 4 says find 0.25% of 58. 0.25% is 0.0025. So I'm going to take that times 58, which gives me 0.145. So 0.25% of 58 is 0.145. All right, you have 4 try-it problems on this page. Go ahead, pause the video, try out the try-it problems, and when you're done, we'll go over the answers together. All right, now that you've tried the try-it problems on your own, let's go over the answers together. So the first one says C, 128% of 550. I'm going to change 128 to a fraction. So I get 128 over 100. I can simplify 128 over 100 by dividing by 2. I can also divide by 4. 128 divided by 4 gives me 32, and 100 divided by 4 gives me 25. Then I'm going to multiply that by 550. 25 and 550 can be cross-simplified. 25 becomes 1, 550 becomes 22. 32 times 22 gives me 704. Letter D, 0.3% of 200. 0.3% I'm going to rewrite as a decimal, which is 0.003. And I'm going to multiply that times 200. Gives me 0.6. Letter E, 0.85% of 600. 0.85% I'm going to change to a decimal, so 0.0085. And then I'm going to multiply that times 600. 0.0085 times 600 gives me 5.1. And then letter F. In a recent state Special Olympics meet, 15% of the team from Delaware County competed in tennis. If there were 20 members on the team, how many competed in tennis? So I'm going to take 15%, and I'm going to change that to a decimal, so 0.15. And I'm going to multiply that times 20 because there were 20 members on the team. 0.15 times 20 gives me 3. So 3 people competed in tennis. And that is the end of lesson 7.